Well, it's a Thursday. That must mean we're short on time, right? You know what? That is true. Again, this Thursday, we are short on time. Every Thursday, there's an appointment at 10 o'clock that has to be made, something that's got to be met. So, as we started these at-home updates all those months ago, we kind of said we'll do these when we're at home and with the time that we have available, and we're not going to make an exception today. So we will make it quick. We've got 15 minutes or so. We should be able to get everything done this morning, I think, without a problem. Hey, listen. Have you missed anything over the course of the last 5 or 6 months? And when I say miss anything, I mean, is there anything that you thought, boy, I'd really like to have? It might be you'd like to have Clorox disinfecting wipes, and those are almost impossible to have. But I was thinking more like, I read someplace where the number one food that people say they miss is Mexican food. That they miss eating Mexican food. Has there been anything that you went to the store to get that you couldn't find? And I bring this up because it's obvious this is getting real now. It's getting real. If you're a Dr. Pepper drinker, it's getting real. Texas Monthly, as if 2020 weren't bad enough, we're now running out of Dr. Pepper. Oh, woe is us. Apparently, a good can of Dr. Pepper is hard to find. I'm not sure how serious that really is, but for people who are Dr. Pepper drinkers, obviously it's going to be a hardship that they have to go without their Dr. Pepper. Speaking of hardships, I do want to talk about it on just a second, about hardships. When I hear people talking about, we shouldn't do this and we shouldn't do that and how it's left this hole or it's messed up my life or whatever, I keep thinking about how would we as a country react? And how would we as a community react if we were facing real hardships? Now, listen, death, I'm not downplaying the number of people who have died in our country and in our community, not at all. But I'm just saying, what if it were some of the other plagues that have, been seen around the world? I mean, there were plagues, bubonic and others, when people would go to bed with their significant others and then wake up in the morning and they're dead in bed with them and there was nothing else. I mean, that's hardship. The Dust Bowl, that's hardship. The Depression, that's hardship. World War II, rationing, that's hardship. Going without Dr. Pepper, doing without something, asking you to give up something, oh, you can't do this thing that's, yeah, we all like, but is that hardship? And how do you think we would react? It makes me nervous when I see how we are talking to each other now and, what we're doing to each other and how we react to each other. I'm like, wow, what if it were really difficult? Because let's admit it, to this point, for a whole lot of people, it has not been really difficult. Yes, there are those who lost their jobs. Yes, there are those who are going without, that are food insecure. Yes, there are those who are facing eviction. And it is real. But for a whole lot of people, obviously, it's not real, because we want to act like it's not real, because we can't do something we want to do. I'm just curious. What do you think? How would we react to real calamity? And this is a very difficult thing. And there are people losing their lives over this. There are people that are losing, their finances over this. Just curious. All right, folks, I love this one. Trisha Hamrick. Shut up about the Dr. Pepper and tell us who you know is selling babies. You got me on that one, Trisha. I'm not sure exactly that I know anybody who is. Susan Cook Latham, we have enormous hardships if the Dems have anything to do with it. Well, I would wager, Susan, that is probably not true. I just can't imagine that whether any party wins, that, we're going to have any, are we really familiar with serious hardships? I'm not saying everyone, but a large majority of the population in this country, are they even familiar with what hardship is? Do want you to weigh in this morning. No matter how abstract, no matter how far off tangent, no matter what your thought is, it's worth seeing, posting. So if you want to tell me where you're watching this morning, you want to tell me what's on your mind, if you want to tell me to go in a different direction, you can. Doesn't mean I will. Jesse Lemaire, good morning to you. Hi, Phyllis. Glad you're up. Esther is up with us this morning. Also, Vera Applegate. Vera, thank you for asking. The anniversary was very good and very quiet. Just appreciate the fact that my lovely wife was with me. Vanessa Hoppauer, good morning to you this morning. Jeannie Foster, good morning to you. Invite her today. Hope it's going well. Hi, Tammy. Cheryl is up this morning. Remember, if you're going to weigh in, would you do me a favor and just hit the like button? Or if you don't like, you can hit the angry button. But just so I kind of have a reaction to what's going on this morning. And, it's interesting. We talked about this earlier this week when I had the confrontation with the gentleman outside the station, that when your tunnel vision on what is of interest to you, how it makes conversation that much harder if you don't at least kind of acknowledge that somebody else might have another or a differing point of view. It happens here too, and that's fine. We can do that. We can handle that. All right. So we've got, we're going to catch up on what's happening in the headlines this morning. That includes decreasing hospitalizations, but increasing deaths. How does that happen? We'll also talk about what's going on with the I-45, which is now being called the deadliest highway in the country. And then we'll end up, as we always do, on something light today. So we'll get to that all coming up on this. It is a Thursday edition of Dan's At Home Update. Once again, thanks for getting up with me this morning. I appreciate your sharing some of your time. I know how valuable your time is. And as we work our way through the day, we are going to be dealing with a variety of different issues this morning. We will get to, again, the headlines. We'll also talk about what's on your mind. In fact, I do want to remind you, you can weigh in this morning. Whatever you want to talk about is fine with me. I'm in my house this morning. Glad to see you. This is, for those who don't know, this is new camera from up on top, so you can kind of see what I see looking into my house. People often ask me, how do you work that? How does that happen? How do you do this? Well, there's computers in front of me and a camera up there at the very top. Up here is the camera, and then some computers, and you can see me there. And then I take your comments and questions, and then we run through, of course, what's also happening on the internet. That's the way that we do it. And the whole idea is a very much more casual approach to what's happening in our headlines and what's happening in our community. When you're doing a newscast, you kind of have guidelines that you have to go by that are, things that you have to get here at this time, and you have to, it's pretty laid out for you. But on doing this, our live stream, we can pretty much be all over the map, which we generally are all over the map when we do this. But that, to me, is what makes it interesting, fun to be with you. Interesting, maybe is a better word, to see your thoughts and, what's going on in your life and in your world. Let's jump right into the headlines this morning. We need to do that before I run completely out of time. So we'll run over to KFDM.com. And I'm a big fan of those 5 things you need to know. Do you ever see those? 5 things you need to know before you go out the door. I like those because it's kind of a capsule way of talking about what's happening. Among the stories that we're following this morning, charges have now been filed against the 18-year-old Port Arthur man who was charged, let me see if I can get back to where we need to be here, who is charged in the death of the Beaumont police officer. And he has been charged with intoxication manslaughter involving a police officer. His name, again, is Luis Fernando Torres. He is 18. Some other information coming out, Jefferson District Attorney's Office. Not only did they file charges, they also set bond for both of the charges at $750,000. If he's convicted of both offenses, either or, he could face up to 99 or life in prison. And we were just talking about how suddenly somebody's life can change. You know, a decision to do something and how the rest of your life, an 18-year-old man, his life has suddenly changed. DPS, in its investigation, did take blood alcohol, and they're telling us that the blood alcohol returns, the test, looks like it's consistent with about 4 times the legal limit. So that is obviously something we'll continue to follow. Also this morning, Mid-County reporting 32 new positive cases, 16 in Port Arthur, 8 in Nederland. Also had 4 in Port Neches and 4 in Groves. You can also go and see all the different statistics we also have on our website today. The numbers from Orange County as well. If you want to see those, you can go in there and find them as well. Also, difficulty these days, staying alive when you have a small business. And we've mentioned this a couple of times. Nobody has had it tougher probably than breweries and wineries. Because as much as they would like to call themselves a restaurant, if they're not serving a percentage of food, they're not going to, the state is not going to go for that. And then you have to jump through some hoops. So the owner of the First Craft Brewery in Beaumont says he is on the brink. That if something doesn't change pretty soon, that he will probably be out of business. And you get what they're saying, right? That, hey, if a restaurant has a bar and somebody can walk in and sit down and have a beer, what's the difference? And not order any food. They don't have to order any food to walk in and sit down at a restaurant bar. So why would they not, right, do the same thing for, to say, hey, you can walk in and have a beverage. The thing they are against is the idea of large parties, large groups. Maybe they put something in to keep that from happening. I'm not sure. Maybe they set, an amount of a minimal, maximum number of capacity that you can have in them. So that's another story we'll be continuing to follow. We also had a Beaumont Police swearing in ceremony yesterday. 4 new officers were sworn in. Want to talk about numbers. This is what you're going to see today. This is Texas Tribune. Texas reporting 324 more people dying from coronavirus. That is a new single day record. State reporting 6,200 new cases. I can go ahead and you can do this too. Texas Tribune, as I said, nonprofit journalist working hard, but you can go and look at the numbers. Here are the numbers for hospitalizations. Here are the numbers for new cases. And then this is the total number of deaths being reported. And then here are the number of new deaths being reported, 324 more. Again, a single record. Now, follow that up because, again, we're seeing, now we're starting to see, leveling off. Hospitalizations are leveling off. Yeah, but look at this. U.S. reported the most COVID-19 related deaths in one day since May. And there are some positive signs out there. California, a decline in... But does that not come back to the testing issue and numbers and how everything has been so convoluted when it comes to numbers? And then Dr. Robert Redfield, director of the CDC, warning that it could be a very deadly autumn if we don't follow individual guidelines. And I want to bring back a story too that I want you to see because I think it's a story worth talking about. I hope that I still have it up here. Give me a second to see if I can find it. About coronavirus testing from the Harvard scholar who said the only way that you're going to be able to really get a handle on things is not to have clinical tests, but to have tests that they're cheap, they're effective, and people could take one every single day. And then you don't have to worry about how many people tested positive today. Person takes a test before they go to work. If they're positive, they just don't go in. If they're negative, everything's copacetic. And, you go on with your life. I will see what I can do. Let me see if I can't find that one. All right, here it is. I've got it pulled up for you because I wanted to share this. How to stop the pandemic. A Harvard doc says cheap tests are the answer. His name is Michael Mina. I'm not going to spoon feed you. I will point you in the right direction. You go read this story. I introduced you to Dr. Mina last week, saying that, he's willing to talk to the public. He's willing to talk to politicians, to the public, to go as far as it can. But this time, he really gets into answering the questions that maybe you're probably asking. Why don't we do this? Why is it taking so long? How come you can't do this? And he suggests part of the problem is the government spent so much money now on all these vaccine possibilities, billions and billions, that maybe there's not a real interest in having cost-effective testing. Go and check it out. Again, that's USA Today. I've linked it to my Facebook page. I'll see what I can do to link it elsewhere for you on maybe the KFDM Facebook page as well. All right. As I mentioned when we started today, I am really a little bit short on time, so I don't have a lot going on. I've got about 2 more minutes here before I have to get out the door. I will do this. I'm going to read all the comments that are in the comment section today. And tomorrow, when we have a little bit more time, we'll dive into those and we'll go a little bit deeper. But as I said, I'm just like you. I'm on a schedule. I have other things that I have to take care of this morning as well. So we will come back and we will hit those things tomorrow. Hopefully, I at least got you those 5 things that you need to know before you get out the door this morning. Time just got a little bit away from me as well this morning. I'll look forward to talking to you again. I value your time. I do. I know that you don't have to do this. You don't have to take the time to watch. You don't even have to agree with the things that are said when we're live streaming. But at least we have a conversation going. At least we're exchanging ideas and information. At least we're looking at different things that are out there that we should be paying attention to. And you bring attention to me, things that maybe I have missed, for sure. I'm certainly not saying that I've seen it all, know it all, for sure. Because I depend on you just as much as you depend on me, I assure you. All right, so anyway, let me know what you're thinking on our comment section. Also, remember, there are other ways that you can stay in touch. This, of course, the Facebook page of KFDM News. We also have Twitter that you can follow me, Morning TV Dan, and also YouTube. You can subscribe to the page there. It's Dan's at Home, and we post all of our at-home updates there on the YouTube page as well. All right, go out and make it a terrific and safe day, and I will look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow morning.